Hello and welcome. If you're an educator or an administrator trying to get your head around one of College Board's most unique courses, then you are in exactly the right place. Think of this as your guided tour of AP Research. We're going to break down what it is, how it works, and maybe most importantly, the really critical role that you play in making it a success. So let's dive in.
Here's our game plan. We'll start with the 30,000-foot view, then zoom right into the student's year-long journey. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the final assessment, map out the educator's playbook, that's your part, and wrap up with the awesome awards students can earn. Sound good? Let's get to it.
All right, so to really get what AP Research is all about, we have to zoom out a bit first. You see, this isn't just another standalone course that you can sort of plug and play into your school's catalog. Oh no, it's actually part of something much, much bigger and way more intentional.
And that something bigger is the AP Capstone program. It's designed to work alongside all the other AP courses, but with a twist. It focuses on those core academic skills that colleges are practically shouting for. Independent research, real collaboration, and powerful communication. AP Research is really the crown jewel of this whole program.
So how does it work? Well, AP Capstone is a 2-year sequence. First, students take AP Seminar. That's where they learn the ropes, how to investigate issues from all different angles. And just so we're clear, that's a non-negotiable prerequisite. Only after they've mastered those skills can they jump into AP Research, where they take everything they've learned and apply it to their very own massive, independent project.
So what does this actually feel like for a student? Well, it's really not a traditional class. It's much more like a year-long self-guided adventure. So instead of a teacher standing at the front delivering a set curriculum, students are guided through the whole process of scholarly inquiry. And it's all fueled by whatever they are curious about.
And that whole journey is built around these 5 big ideas. These are the skills students are constantly practicing all year long. They learn to ask good questions, to really understand and analyze their sources, to weigh different viewpoints, and then, this is the magic, to synthesize all that information into a brand new argument. And finally, they have to transmit their findings. It's a cycle, not just a one-and-done checklist.
And this, right here, this question is ground zero. It is the absolute starting point for everything. The whole year, every article they read, every note they take is all in service of answering a question that they and only they came up with. It's their own intellectual curiosity driving the bus. And along this journey, wow, do students build an incredible toolkit of skills. And these aren't just for passing a test. These are the real-deal proficiencies they need for college and beyond. Things like designing a study from scratch, wrestling with ethical questions, and building a sophisticated, evidence-based argument that actually holds up.
Okay, let's talk about the finish line. What do students actually have to show for all this work? How does this year-long deep dive actually get graded? It all comes down to a 2-part capstone project. Part 1 is a massive academic paper. We're talking 4,000 to 5,000 words. Now, to put that in perspective, that is a serious piece of scholarly writing. It's absolutely on par with what's expected of undergrads in many university courses.
And the structure here is absolutely key. This is not just a really long essay. It's a formal academic paper. Students have to do a full-on literature review to find a gap in what's already known. They have to justify their research method, present their findings, and then argue for why their work actually matters. It's the real thing.
So that huge paper, that's 75% of their score. The other 25% comes from part 2, the presentation and oral defense. Yep, they have to boil down their entire year of work into a short presentation and then defend it, live, in front of a 3-person panel. Talk about high stakes.
And these aren't softball questions either. Just imagine a high school student being asked this. How does your new understanding address a gap in the scholarly conversation? It forces them to truly own their work and articulate exactly how they've contributed to the field. It is an incredibly authentic academic experience. Okay, now let's talk about you, the educators. If the students are in the driver's seat, what exactly is the teacher doing? This is probably the biggest mental shift you have to make. In AP Research, the teacher is not an instructor in the traditional sense. You're a facilitator, a guide, a coach.
This slide is so important because it really draws the line in the sand. You absolutely do hold meetings to check in and ask good, probing questions. You do teach skills and point students toward resources, but you absolutely do not write on their paper, correct their grammar, or tell them exactly what to do next. And you for sure don't do the research for them.
Your job is to facilitate their journey, not to drag them to the destination.
So, after all this blood, sweat, and research, what's the big payoff for the students? Well, beyond the incredible skill set they walk away with, completing the AP Capstone program comes with some pretty serious bragging rights from the College Board.
So here's the deal. The magic number is 3. If a student can earn a 3 or higher on their final assessments for both AP Seminar and AP Research, they unlock the door to 2 different levels of official recognition. First up is the AP Seminar and Research Certificate. This award specifically recognizes that a student has mastered the core research and communication skills that are the heart and soul of these 2 foundational capstone courses. But the big prize is the AP Capstone Diploma. Now for this one, a student has to get a 3 or higher in seminar and research, plus they have to do the same on 4 other AP exams in any subjects they want. This diploma is a huge signal to colleges that this student has shown a deep commitment to high-level work across the board. And that really brings our tour to a close. As you can see, the value here goes way beyond just another line on a transcript. AP Research fundamentally changes how a student sees themselves and how they interact with information. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. What could happen at your school if you empowered your students to become creators, not just consumers of knowledge? What kind of transformation could that spark?